Hello, good people. All right, so this is take two. If you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. I had to redo this video because nudity, like it was crazy. Whole nip slip, whole Janet Jackson situation. But anyway, the Instagram followers, my Instagram family voted on this video right here. Okay, this video. If you haven't been following along, go ahead and follow me at I am Jasmine Carter on Instagram, and you'll see that I've been doing sort of a mini series around therapy and finding out that I'm a disorganized avoidant and how that has impacted different areas of my life. I talk about where my disorganized avoidance comes from. And so, about a week ago, give or take a couple of days, I did a poll in my stories. And so there were three options. There were three options, and the people have spoken. Okay. The three topic areas that you could have voted on were one, how being a disorganized avoidant impacts my parenting, two, how it impacts my dating life, and three, what it made me recognize, as far as the harsh realities of my marriage. And you all voted on the harsh realities of my marriage. And shout out to those who reached out to me just to make sure I was okay because, they want to make sure I'm not reliving trauma, too much. They want to make sure I'm not putting myself through anything unnecessary. And so much love to you. I appreciate that consideration. Before we get started, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you have been watching the videos all this time, come on over and join the family. Okay, this is a place of common sense. This is a place of community, but it is also a place of accountability. We don't hate people here. We don't do too much here. We just speak the truth and we deal in the facts. I just want to say what this video is not. So, this video is not a bash my parents. This is not a bash my ex spouse. This is not a bash of anyone. This is literally, like I said before, we're about the truth here. We're about the facts. We're about where it is we're trying to go and understanding how we're going to get there, how we got to the point we're at, all of that good stuff. So let's just keep that in mind. All right. So I guess I'll start with a little bit of background. I met my kid's dad back in college. We were college sweethearts. And, one of the things that now I can look back on and realize is that I really was not in a good place to be talking to anyone. I thought I was a securely attached person. I thought I had a lot of confidence. I thought I was clear about who I was and what I wanted. And that's not, entirely not true, right? I did have some idea, but I wasn't as clear as I thought I was. I started going to Bowie State University, and so that is where I went to school. And to be honest, I did not want to go there. And that's no shade to the school. I love the school. I don't think I used my time there as well as I could have, just because I didn't want to go there, right? I graduated from high school and started college at 16. And so there was just a lot of controversy about where I should go to school and what I should do and what I was too young for, yada, yada, yada. So I go to this school that I don't really want to be at, but I'm determined to um, start life and to do the best that I can with what I have. But that also was wrapped up in me trying to escape home. And when I say escape home, it's not that I grew up in some physically abusive dirt hole trench or something like that. Not that at all. But I did grow up in a family that really couldn't see beyond a certain point, right? So I was really the first one to truly go to college and finish. And so a lot of their ideas and expectations were very ill informed based on whatever it is, maybe they read somewhere or whatever. I also grew up in a situation where there was a lot put on me. I was constantly bearing the brunt of being the oldest and practically parenting my own parent. That's the best way I can put it. As my mother navigated life, my father was very inconsistent. If you've seen previous videos, I talk about how my mother was, she was just high conflict. And so that put me in a space where I knew that I had to get out of there. And that honestly was the only goal I had in mind in college. I really couldn't even think about so much of my career goals as much as I was thinking about changing my environment. Why am I saying all of this? Because one of the first harsh reality about me getting married to the person I did starts with the fact that it was me who was running away from something instead of running towards something. And when you try to escape a situation without doing the inner work, without understanding what it truly is you're escaping from, you will run into the arms of the same thing that you just left. It might look a little different, it might have a different face, but it's the same situation. Anyway, so I'm at this school, right? And if y'all remember, if you went to Bowie State, you remember the old Wiseman, right? Before they tore it down. And that was like my place. That was my safe haven before I had to go home and face whatever was waiting for me there. And I met a lot of folks, had a lot of fun, and that is where I met my kid's dad. Well, the new semester had started and they made they built the new student center. And the new student center was like nothing like the Wiseman. Nothing, nothing, nothing like it. And it was like a blank canvas. And a lot of the people that I remembered weren't there. And so I went toward the small group of people who had a couple of faces that I recognized. And one of those faces was my kid's dad. I'll say that again, I put a lot of stock into creating this new community and this new family away from the family that I came from because, again, I needed something different. I needed something different. I needed a fresh start. I needed to feel like I wasn't burdened with trying to fix, build, whatever. I just didn't need to be burdened with all these things that people wanted me to do for other people, for grown-ups, But what I didn't realize is that I unintentionally, and I just want to say, I love my family. I love my mother. I love my father. I have no beef with my kid's dad. But the truth of the matter is, I became an easy target for emotional, mental, and financial abuse because I was emotionally, mentally, and financially abused in my own home as a child. When you're told that you can't do something because you have to make sure everything's okay at home, or you have to help your mother, or you better contribute to this house, or hey, I need this amount of money. Hey, you think you can spot me $200? And I'm doing these things, mind you, with no job. Okay. I have no job, like consistent work, but I'm hustling, right? I'm doing everything I can think to do. I'm taking out loans for other people, and it just never was enough, right? And what it was teaching me is that your love unfortunately has to be earned. That's an unintentional lesson that I picked up in my home growing up, is that love has to be earned. You're only as good as the things that you can provide and do in this house. If Jasmine said she couldn't do it or didn't want to do it or didn't feel good about doing it, I was labeled as selfish. I was told I didn't have any discretion. I was labeled as a disrespectful child, and most times ended up exhibiting those behaviors out of reaction to mistreatment. Then you're trying to figure out a way to fight and escape that, just to end up in the exact situation that you came from. Because what it does is it gets down in your subconscious and it teaches you false narratives about yourself. I really started to believe that maybe something was wrong with me. I really started to believe that maybe I just am not a good fit for my family. Maybe I'm not a good fit to have friends because they're saying these things about me. They're telling people that I'm rude. They're telling people that I have an attitude problem. They're all of this kind of stuff. I'm in a position where I have to dial myself back so everyone in the room feels comfortable. And that trained me to pretty much just shut up and work and neglect the things that I knew were deep down on the inside of me. Right. So then I meet these group of people at Bowie, and many of them I still talk to this day, and I love them dearly. I do. But there were times where I felt so isolated and so unappreciated and so taken for granted, because not that they necessarily did anything to me, but because I, again, was believing the false narratives about myself. And those false narratives came from people who, for whatever reason, wanted to put me down. So as time went on and I got closer to graduation, another harsh reality about my marriage is that me being such a disorganized avoidant, of course not realizing it at the time, as much as I wanted my kids dead, I didn't at the same time. There was this gut feeling that this union, this relationship doesn't make sense. We're clearly on two different pages. You know, I'm thinking about the future. I'm going on my internships. I'm doing all these things. He's saying he wants the same things, but our actions and different things just aren't aligned, right? But at the same time, I couldn't quite do what I needed to do to fully break away, because I'm also looking back as far as what I'm coming from. And at that point, I get close to graduation. I'm essentially being bullied and berated as to why I don't have a job yet. I'm getting, even threats of making me join the Air Force, questioning me, making it seem like I'm not doing enough, and because my dreams and goals of being on radio and television were so big, everyone was so focused on me getting to the dollar, like immediately, because, and again, no shade to them, but they don't have career goals. They just work your run of the mill administrative blue collar working kind of jobs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But that was just different than what God put on the inside of me. And so there was this constant conflict and battle. And one thing that they don't know, and maybe they know by now, I don't know, but at the time, I graduated in like May of 2015. And I I knew that by January of 2016, I was going to leave. I was going to take whatever few dollars I had. Like, I was so inspired by Taraji P. Henson's story. Like, I wasn't trying to be no actress or nothing, but I was like, if Taraji, being from the DMV, just like I am, can take $700 and a baby in a car and go to the West Coast, I can get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I really was looking at just saving as much as I could in that time, getting in my car and moving to North Carolina to start a life for myself, because I wasn't about to continue to be belittled and used just to have things end up nowhere. It was just too crazy of a time. And but I'm in this relationship, right, that I'm trying to give some type of space to, because even though the actions aren't lining up, I'm believing the words of we're going to have a future. And I'm stuck in the cycle of false narratives about myself, that I don't listen to people and I don't give people a chance and I'm not a nice person. I grew up hearing that, oh, she's high minded. Oh, one day you'll see. One day you'll learn. I was even told that no one would ever want to marry me. So I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And when it got to the point where I felt like I really was like, okay, I need to break this off, he and I decided to spend a little hoorah together, and that hoorah is 9 years old. And that's another harsh reality, that my beautiful 9-year-old, hoorah, 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 I love her, but she definitely is a strong element as to why I attempted to push past the obvious problem that was in front of me. Even her being here, I won't go into the details about that because I know that's very hurtful for a lot of folks, but that situation was loaded with red flags. But again, when you lack the support, the proper support at home, when you know you don't want to be caught back there, now you're in a place where you're trying to pick the lesser of two evils. And I felt like pressing forward, I would at least give myself a chance to start life. And I was already being belittled and practically punished because I had a baby out of wedlock. And so, it took me a while to find a job, and that was very frustrating for me because it wasn't like I wasn't trying, and then I had a baby and I was trying to, start my master's program. I got internships, but I'm hearing how you need to contribute to this house. You need to get a job. I was even told to let my radio dreams go and go ahead and be somebody's secretary, how I owe them everything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, this is not life. This can't be life. And I had to work through that. And it was so hard because it's just like, God dang, nothing I do is good enough. None of the times that I came through for this family, brought this family honor, no matter how talented I am, no matter how good my grades are, it'll all boil down to what else can you do for me? And that was so challenging. And so when I'm here with this child and I'm trying to find a job and I finally get one, the first thing I had to do was lie about how much I was making. Because if I didn't, I never would have been able to move out. Because, like most Black families, they have this idea that their children are supposed to contribute to the household in such a way that pretty much impedes their future. It literally prohibits them from any further success because they have to dial backwards. So I had to do what I had to do because I realized that no one was going to be happy for me anyway. And so, again, playing into the false narratives about myself that I took into marriage, you just don't get celebrated. You just don't get celebrated and truly treated the way you're worth being treated. I never forget when I got my first place, I finally got approved. And I came home and I told everybody, like, hey, I'm moving in a couple of months. I got approved. And the reactions were just like, oh, okay. And I was so annoyed because it was just like, can anybody show any real joy for anybody's accomplishment in here outside of working some damn overtime? Like, we show so much appreciation to that, but we don't show appreciation and celebrate people finding a new community, people doing new things, people moving, people starting new adventures. Everything is downplayed. There's no real joy or excitement about anything. But hey, you better contribute to this household though. Well, hey, how are you going to help your mom? I'm not, cuz I'm moving. It's that type of thing. Those are the types of scars that I carried into a marriage and that made me an easy target for the BS that was to come. So I get married and I'm finding that, okay, I'm here now. Everything seems cool. But now we have two children. And now I'm thinking about buying a house. I'm thinking about future savings. And I'm thinking about college funds for my kids. I'm thinking all these things. And I'm married to someone who says they're thinking about the same things, but again, our actions aren't quite aligning. And I'm noticing a coldness toward me and an expectation of me that wasn't being reciprocated. And before I knew it, I was the same person I was growing up. Growing up, I used to have a lot of like panic attacks and headaches and stomach issues. And then I got married to have my eyes twitching and stomach issues. And I'm tired and I'm attitudinal because I'm in a cage. My talents, my gifts, my love for people. I'm being told you're not a caring person. You're not a friendly person. Nobody wants to be your friend. Nobody wants to be around you. I don't want to be around you. And you're ungrateful. And it's just like, and I, because of the situation I came from, all I knew how to do was work harder to prove the person wrong. Oh, you say I don't love you? Fine. I'm going to be there for you every step of the way. You say I don't do anything for you? Fine. I'm going to give you every dime I have. You say I'm not grateful? I'm going to make sure I thank you and honor your name everywhere you go. I'm going to make sure your image is great and all that kind of stuff. Did that at home, did that in my marriage, and they both resulted in the same thing. There was no way for me to prosper in that because the very thing I ran from, I ran right to. As much as I gave up, as much as I lost growing up, and as much as I lost in my marriage, it was just like all I could do was take accountability for not taking the time to get to know myself. I literally had to go through a process of apologizing and forgiving myself for not getting to know myself, for not feeling strong enough, for not combating and sorting through the ideas about myself that were put in my head. The ideas that you think you're better than everyone, you think you know everything, or just watch, you'll be right back here. You'll see. You're always trying to control everything. And it's like, no, I'm not. No, I am not. To all those who have ever said that to me, I promise to God I am not. But what I'm not trying to do is I don't want to be the one that has to keep fixing it because you keep messing it up. I can take my hands off of it. I absolutely can take my hands off of it, but don't come to me when it's broken. But even that's not an argument I'm willing to have anymore because at this point, my life is my own and I don't take on any more than what I'm supposed to do. To see the parallels between my childhood and my marriage was just mind blowing. Like, I was like, oh my God, how did this happen? And it's because your subconscious, your inner child is like, we're going to fix everything that we couldn't fix because we were a child. So now we're going to walk into the same situation with an adult body and an adult mind and adult abilities. And we're going to do it right this time. We're gonna prove that we can do this. We're gonna prove that we're worth being appreciated and taken care of in a way that is supportive and loving and not transactional. We're gonna show someone that yes, I will never give up on you. And we're just gonna have to hope that this time it gets recognized because we're not a child anymore. We're not in extreme need anymore. So this has to turn out different, right? But no, it doesn't. Because when people are determined to keep you down in that way, whether they mean to or not, it's because there's something lacking in them. And that can be your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. It could be your spouse, your cousins, whomever in your life. You can't expect people to just appreciate you. You can't expect people to reciprocate things. You have to just know that when they don't, walk away. And that's one thing that I didn't get in enough time. Walk away because they're already talking about you anyway. When I look back and I think about all the times I tried to stay or, oh, I won't do this because I don't want to make my folks upset, or, oh, I don't want to go here, or I don't want to bring this up because then he'll be upset, or I know he can't do this. And just for them to talk about you anyway, just for them to tell people that you're mean to them and that you're abusing them and that you're doing all of these things. It all ends up the same way anyway. And you're the one left with the consequences and with the burden and with the brunt of it while they go on about their lives, while they go back to their parents, while they get the fresh start that you can't get. I don't have parents to go back to. The harsh reality is I walked into this thinking that I could save little Jazz. And I put little Jazz in even more distress. And I will never, ever do that again. When I think about the time I got to a place, and this is where you know people are really broken. When you get to the place where things are going very well for you, like I said, growing up, it was like, oh, I'm about to move, or oh, I'm about to do this. And it was just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, okay. And to experience it later in life where it's like, okay, I'm accepting the call to ministry. I've joined this church. That's your church, you know, like it was my spouse's church. So it's like I've joined the church, I got married, I've accepted the call to ministry. And it seems like as soon as I accepted the call, I immediately was just mishandled. Like I realized that in both situations, as long as I elevated, the people around me, I don't know if it's that they got upset. I don't know if it's that it made them nervous, but it seemed like that's when I got treated the worst. It's like in public though, it would be, oh yeah, this is my wife. And you know, we're hugging and we're taking the family pictures. Or even as a younger person, oh yeah, this is Jazz. She got a communications degree and she can sing and she can do all of that. But then at home, coldness and distance and you don't do enough. Who do you think you are? If that's what you want to do. It's like, why are people dismissing me in private, but praising me in public? But then if I tell even just the slightest bit of truth, people will act like they're ready to jump off a damn bridge. They will act like they're ready to step in front of traffic. They will start panicking and create all kinds of scenarios and shift into this victim like I pulled a whole pistol out or something. But again, because I believed those false narratives about myself, I just kept looking at those moments and thinking, wow, I really hurt them. Wow, I need to change, or wow, I need to adjust. Being overly empathetic to people that wouldn't even give me a drop of empathy in the most crucial times. And so, to wrap this up, the realities are I was not only was I not ready to be married, but I was broken and an easy target for this type of abuse. I was broken, but that person is no more. Once he walked out of here for good, and once my eyes stopped twitching, once this place transformed into not a prison of bad memories, but to a beautiful hope of the future, all I can do is look back and laugh sometimes. I cried at first, but then I laugh. You know, it's like my therapist told me. I remember I was crying and snotting and, oh, I miss my husband and I just want this and I want that. And I just want my mother to love me and do this. And I want my family to believe in me and just support me and see I just want all of this stuff. And she was just like, okay. And I was like, I just miss the way things used to be. And she said, okay, so now I need you to tell me exactly what do you miss? And when I tell you, I was like, ooh, you got me. You got me. Because I don't. I used to think, man, I really miss all the family things we used to do and the gatherings and the this and the that. And we went to the same church. And then I miss, when he was here, the kids had their dad and we were around and we did. But all those times I wasn't happy. I was tired of dialing myself back so everybody in the room could feel comfortable. I was tired of sitting in rooms where we had the same conversations over and over again that got us nowhere. No one had a new idea. No one wanted to do anything different for the future. People were using religion to enslave themselves. I was tired of that. And even in my marriage, I thought I missed it, but then when I thought about it, what do you miss? You slept in the bed alone for the last couple years. What do you miss? Do you miss always running out of money? Do you miss always finding things you ain't supposed to find? What is it that you miss? Do you miss having to go to church and pretend like you're not ready to step out in the middle of traffic? You don't miss that. She said you just miss what's familiar. And your body and your inner self and inner being is scared right now because you're shifting into the place that you're supposed to be. And it's scary because, again, it's not familiar to you. So anyway, that wraps this up. I hope you got whatever it was you were looking for in this video with the harsh realities. If you made it this far, go ahead, like, share, and comment, subscribe, do all the things. Follow me over on Instagram. I'm on TikTok too. I'm getting a little better with my TikTok, and it's the same handle across the board. Yeah, we're having a good time with this. And I'm doing all of this to not just get it all off my chest, but to really encourage you to evaluate yourself. Notice the patterns. Notice the patterns as soon as you can so you can break them and you can do something different. It's your time, it's your life. If you're a believer, you know that it says, let no man despise your youth. This is your time. This is your time. So, peace to all. And I hope this was helpful.